About 2 weeks ago, I dropped a tutorial and the feedback was insane. So many of you asked for a part 2. Well, buckle up and hold on tight, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. To get access to the full Airbnb project file, complete sound design project, intro project file, and all the premium high quality sound effects and assets used in this video, check the link down below. Basically, this is part 2 of the video, and if you didn't check out the first part, don't forget to check that out first and then come back to this video. Also put a link on description. So for the first step, I'm gonna add the airplane vector and just put it over here. Maybe scale it down a little bit, about 50, and I can easily come at the first of a layer and give it some position, something like this. Go a little bit forward and then put other keyframes. So for the first position, I'm gonna move it to around here, and then for the second one, I'm gonna move it around here. So by using pen, I'm gonna give it some shape like this, but the main problem would be the speed down here and also the rotation down here, if you see. So let's fix it together. For the speed, what I'm gonna do is just give it a 60-60. And over here, I have to let you know about motion for flow and the controller space comment that I'm using, which we called it FX console. You can find all of these plugins on my Discord channel, and I'll also put a link in description so you can easily get access to all of these plugins from that link. So for fixing the rotation, I'm gonna open up the transform, auto oriented, and then readjust the rotation once. Right now, if you see, it will follow along the path, but I'm gonna move it to over here to have it a little bit faster. I can cut this out from here, and by doing Ctrl+Shift+Y, create a new null object and cut it from here. And then over here, I'm gonna connect everything to a new null object to be able to control everything together. But the main thing is, on the previous project, if you check this up, this is a null one, and it can control all the single element that you see over here, except the airplane that I just added. And then I add some other null object which doesn't have any property. I just leave it over here for right now. So I can move this to the top and then connect this one and also the airplane that I have over here to that. Do a position for that, and it's gonna be something like this to over here. I'm gonna move it to around here, but like the main things over here is about the movement and airplane. So first of all, I have to fix the movement, but like let me fix the position of the airplane. I just want to push this a little bit forward, and I can move this to over here to make it synchronized. Right now, I have to find a proper graph for this null object to be able to follow the airplane in the same speed. The only change that I made over here was cutting down these layers, like the bottom layer over here, because it was appeared down here and I was trying to fixing that issue, and for that reason I just tried to cut these layers. I can just add the map right now, so I'm gonna drop the map that I previously made it by ChatGPT. So I just want to scale it up a little bit and find the best place for it. I can parent it to the null too, right? But if I see over here, I'm gonna have some problem down here. And honestly, for fixing this problem, what I'm gonna do is just deparent it from the null object. I have to deparent it around here because I'm gonna have it in a proper position, right? And then I'm gonna pre-comp it with the move all attribute. I don't care about the name. I'm gonna open up this one and give it a effect which is CC reptile. By using this effect, I can easily continue the layer from down, left, right, and up. So it's exactly what I want. So I can put it over here. I can put this on 2000, and also the left would be 2000. I'm gonna put this on a checker V and this one on 60. So let me check the stuff over here. I think this is gonna be kind of cool, you see? So right now, if I get back to this layer and turn this on, I can then again parent it to the null object too, and I see that it doesn't have any problem right now. If I don't turn this option on, you see, it's not appear down here, so that's why I turn it on. So around here, I can easily just grab the circle shape and then do a mask down here. And exactly down here, I can open up the mask property and then play with the expansion tool to be able to come up with the effect that I want. So I can put a keyframe for it right now and then turn this to some negative value to be able to push it out of the frame at the first. And then around here, I'm gonna move it to some large number. But the main problem down here, if you see, is the edges. It's kind of solid edges right now. And for fixing that, I can just give it about 100 or whatever it works for me, feather. And then I can give it exact graph that I made it for the null object. And then I have to drag and drop it below the airplane. And it's gonna be something like this. But I think it's too fast, right? Awesome. So I'll play with the keyframe a little bit and it comes up with some structure like this. The distance would be something like 115 frames between them, and also the graph editor would be something like this. So before I move to the next part, I'm gonna add some shading and some color to the bottom of this map. So I'm gonna duplicate the layer, and over here I just want to add some fill color to that and turn on the color palette and maybe move it to the top of all the layers. And I'm gonna grab a reference from this reddish color, and you see that I'm gonna have some fade reddish color on the edges. Move the map a little bit forward, just a frame forward, and then I can see that I have something like this. Then I can play with the filter if I want, and I can play with the opacity, maybe 50. And it's time to add the location to our map right now. So for making that, I'm gonna do it once and then duplicate it and change the information inside the composition. For the first shape, I'm gonna do something like this and give it a roundness about 100 or maybe more than 100. It should be perfectly rounded, and then I can play with the size a little bit. So this one should be 200, like this one should be 200 CA. The font would be SF Pro Display, which is an Apple font. It's gonna be on a bold, and also you can find this font on my Discord channel from the link that I put it below. I think this is kind of cool, and what I'm gonna do is just parent this to the main shape down here and then pre-comp all of these and make it price tag. Over here on my project detail, what I'm gonna do is just adding a folder and name it as a price, and I can easily add my pre-comp to the folder and then come over here and try to duplicate it for 11 to 12 times. And right now it's time to open up each of these composition and just try to change the number over here, and you just need to keep doing like this and make a price tag with different prices. Awesome. So right now I have a bunch of label tags with different prices on it, and I can easily drag and drop them on my map. Like before I do anything, I'm gonna change the scale to something about 60, make them a little bit smaller, and then I can spread it out through the map. Awesome. So it's gonna be something like this, and before I do anything else, I'm gonna change the color of this layer. It doesn't matter which one you want to change the color, but it should be the centered layer and move it above all the layers. I'm gonna give them a drop shadow, so I'm gonna open up the layer style and give them a drop shadow, and open up the property of the drop shadow and play with it a little bit. And if you're satisfied with your drop shadow, you can just copy and paste it through all the layers. So right now it's time to parent them to the null object that I previously make it and gave it a movement so that I can follow up the path that we have. But we have to make them disappear over here, and by the transition of the map they should be up here. So what I'm gonna do is just come over here, like around here, that I have all the layers on my frame, and then I can cut them out from here, and I can easily open up the scale and rotation property and give them keyframe. Awesome. And then go forward for 5 frame and give them all keyframe again. And if I get back to the first keyframes and give it some rotation about 10 and some scale down about 20, I'm gonna be able to see something like this. But it's not that much good for me, honestly. I think I didn't add it to this layer, so I'm gonna do it manually. I can just add some bounce script to that to be able to make it a little bit bouncy. Also, you can find this script on my Discord channel again. And I also need to give a Bricks shout out because I grabbed the scripts from Bricks channel. So when I copy the scripts, I can easily hold the Alt from my keyboard and hit the property over here and paste it to the scripts menu. So right now the transition of these labels will be good, and I have to put them in a right spot. So I'm gonna come over here and find them one by one. But I think the size of them can be a little bit lower, so I can turn them to 40. And over here it's time to make the other null object and connect it to the previous null object that I previously made it. So I can easily parent this null object to the new null object that I have over here. And one of the most important that we need to care about it a lot is about having a consistent movement in our animation. And for doing that, I'm gonna put the next movement inside the previous movement. So before I get done with this one, I'm gonna start on a new movement. So we're not gonna have any frame without any movement. I'm gonna put the position keyframe over here. I'm in a position and scale keyframe over here, and then move to somewhere around here. Give it some movement like this. All right, or maybe 190. I can give it a 60-60 keyframe. I'm in graph. you can completely understand that I start with this scale up exactly at the first of this movement. So they're kind of combined together. And I just want to mark over here and move this a little bit forward to be able to add something down here. And then again, I'm going to come back and grab these back to the right place. Around here, I'm going to add the crosser that I have over here, like the 3D crosser. Fix it like this. Maybe scale it down a little bit, about 60. And then I can easily add a position keyframe. I'm not sure about the amount of frame that I'm going to put between these two keyframes, but I'll figure it out later. So I'm going to move this out of the frame over here, and I'm going to edit the path by the pen, and I'm going to give it some movement like this. It should be fast at the first and then slow at the end. I think it's kind of cool. Let me see what will be happening if I add the movement to that. Yeah, I think this is kind of cool. Push this a little bit back, move these down here. So right now I can easily parent this layer to the null object and then grab this back. And over here, I'm going to do a click. So what I'm going to do is just open up the scale and also open up the orientation. So that's all I want, and go 5 frames forward, do a keyframe for both, and then again 5 frames backward and do another keyframe. So at the middle keyframe, I'm going to do the adjustments. I'm gonna scale down a little bit and then push this a little bit forward. It's gonna be something like this, right? And if I give it a bounce script that I previously added to the position of those things that I was working on it, like the label tags, it's gonna be something like this. Connect this one to the new null object and then connect it again to this null object. I'm gonna push this out of the frame, something like this. I'm gonna give it something like this. So I'm gonna move it around here, and it should be fast at the end and slow at the first. I think it's good, and I have to give it a little bit of rotation to make it kind of dynamic. Same graph, and over here I also want to give it some rotation, so I'm gonna add a Z rotation, and then over here I'm gonna change the rotation to something like this, and again to this. So let me copy the graphic style with flow and then apply to this one, like the new one that I just made it. So I'm gonna come up with something like this. I think I have to do a little bit of adjustment down here. Yeah. Inside the composition, I'm gonna do the same structure keyframe for the scale and rotation, like over here, and then over here. And then give it a rotation about 5 and a scale down a little bit. Give them scripts and having something like this, right? And exactly at the center of these keyframe, I'm gonna do a keyframe for the size and resize this box a little bit. So maybe 640 for both of the side. I think it's good, but I need to do scale up over here a little bit. I just need to give it a fast movement at the first and a slow at the end. It might be better if I make it with the flow, because the fast movement at the first would be better with the flow. I mean, in my opinion. I just need to give it more scale down and more rotation. And around here, I'm gonna push the text down. It's gonna come down. And also, I'm gonna give it some opacity. Around here should be 0. And over here should be something like this. Let me see. So I'm gonna grab the video, like the reference video over here, to be able to have it. I just want to freeze this one, like time freeze it, freeze frame, and then mask this one up and move it to over here. So I just want to place them in the right spot and then come back again. Like, except the image, everything is just simple text writing. And for the image, what I've done was just mat it to the shape that I have over here. And it's going to be appear only inside the shape. You can just easily grab this and mat it to the shape. And the rest would be just easy text. And about the color palette, it would be full black over here. And about the gray color, it would be something like this. I also have to mat the text layer to the shape, because as you see, it's not going to be inside it. So I just want to select all of them and then mat it to the shape over here. So it's going to be appear only inside the shape, and then it's time to make them move. Honestly, cut all the layers, maybe around here, to be able to see everything. Cut all the layers. So for the image, I'm gonna do the exact same things that I've done over here, like this one. So it just position, I'm gonna move it to the top around here, so it's gonna be appear from the top. And about the keyframe, I'm just gonna copy the keyframe and graph over here and paste it to over here. I can even make it with the motion 4 if it makes it better. I think this is kind of cool, honestly. And I'm not that much okay with it, and I think that's because I have to parent all of these layers to the shape over here to be able to follow all the movement and all the bounce that it has. So right now it's time to make the text animations. Before I do anything, I just want to split this text to 2 different layers. So I'm gonna open up the text explorer scripts, select this layer, put it on a line, and then apply it with this setting. So I'm gonna have these 2 lines in separate layers. So right now I can easily just select all of them, give them a position, and go 5 frames forward, push them down a little bit, and then again give them the same bounce scripts. I can move these layers a little bit down, but I think it has too much bounce. So I'm gonna think about the amount of bounce that I have over here. So I'm gonna turn this to something about 3. This one also should be 3. And let me see if I copy this to all the others. Move them all around here and then give them about 2 frame offset. But the only things over here is about the color that I have to give it. So I'm gonna put something like this. I'm gonna grab the color palette to over here to be able to have some reference. I'm gonna grab a reference from this one, like this one. I don't need it anymore. So I'm gonna put it over here and then grab it back to something like black, like to the main color. And I'm gonna copy it for all the black layers. And also I can paste it on those layers which is gray color. But I have to do some adjustment on it. I have to come over here, grab a reference from this color code, and then come onto the setting and paste it over here. So it should turn to gray after the transition complete. Copy this and paste it. So I'm gonna add other null object and cut it out from here and parent this one to that null object. I'm gonna move it to around here. So I'm gonna put the new movement inside the previous movement. Around here, I'm gonna give it a position and a scale and come over here. So let me do something before that. I'm gonna move this to over here to don't have any scale up and stuff like that. So I can easily make the box that I'm gonna appear in this transition, and then I'm gonna do the movement. Awesome. So I'll make the design. I'm gonna parent all the layers to the main shape, which is this background, and also I'm gonna parent this one to the main shape so I can move them all together. So right now I can easily move it to around here, connect this layer to this null object. I'm gonna put the scale up around here. I think it's too fast, so I'm gonna give it some 65. It should be at the center. So I'm gonna add the title action save to be able to put it in the right place. It should be a little bit closer than again 65. Like, let me find the highest area. It's gonna be over here. So I'm gonna cut them all over here. And then if I mat all these layers to the bottom shape, like this one, and then turn this on again, I can have everything inside the box, right? So by this trick, I can make an easy transition. I can play with this size and have some transition like this one. So I'm gonna turn this to about 0 and then give it fast movement at the first. And the only things over here is about the movement of other things. So I'm gonna push this one down. I'm gonna give a position to this layer and about 7 frame, push this down, give it the same movement that this one has it. Also, I'm gonna give this a drop shadow. I just wanna copy the drop shadow from here and paste it to this bottom shape, like this one, right? So it's gonna be something like this. In 5 frame, I'm gonna do a keyframe like this, push them down a little bit. It's similar to the previous text animation. So I'm gonna add them some scripts. And I can give them some fill effect. Need the color template, get a reference from this one, and do a keyframe like this and turn it back to black. If I grab this one and paste it to the other layers, do 1, 2, 3, frame, offset, but it should be exactly at the first. So let me turn this off again. So then I can add a null object to down here, cut it out from here, parent this to over here, and I immediately parent it to the main shape to have all the motion in the right spot. And around here, I'm gonna do a position like this. Move this to the bottom on the contact, give it some movement like this. Find this one, I'm gonna add other null object, connect this null object to over here, exactly in the same spot with the previous position that I've done. I'm gonna do position for the main null object and do some movement for making a realistic follow-up. And honestly, that's gonna be it. I hope this video would be helpful to you. And also I have to mention, if you want to grab a full project file, which includes the full project file, full sound effect project file, all the sound effects that I use in this project, all the asset and images and the stuff that I use in this video, and a 2 minutes breakdown about the sound effect project, you can just check the link down below and find it on my Payhip. And also you can find the first part project file for completely free because I made it on my previous video, which was the first part of this video, and it's gonna be on my Discord channel. You can find a link down below. Also, all the plugins and stuff will be on my Discord channel in addition of the bounce script that I'm using in this video. See you in the next video.